Saludos to all of you. Saludos. I hope everyone is safe and doing well. Okay. Saludos, Damon. Saludos. We have an emergency live stream for you guys, an emergency one. So I'm here. I wasn't planning on doing a live, but I had to. You know, can't take a couple of days off. You know, people they need me. Let's see what this is over here. It's an emergency. We have an emergency. You gotta let me get in order, you know? Let me concentrate, you know? And I'll give you what the emergency is, you know? And we got 5 people. I think 5 people is good enough. We don't need many people here. What a day. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back once again to the show. Before I get into what I want to talk with you guys today, if you want to, give me a thumbs up, and if you want to, you know, subscribe to the channel, all right? Don't forget to do those 2 things. Subscribe and like, you know, it'll help us out a whole lot. To all of you that are following the prices of gold, the price is at $3,685 a troy ounce. Silver, the price of silver, the troy ounce is at $42 a troy ounce. And platinum is at $1,402 an ounce. I want to talk about several things that they have really bothered me today a whole lot, and I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm sure that some of you might know about this already. But you know, when you have a problem with the law, you need to contract a lawyer to help you with the problem, right? When you have a problem, you know, with the law, you get a lawyer's service to help you out with the situation, and that lawyer has to go to the university and study to become a lawyer, an attorney, whatever you want to call it, right? And after he does that, he has to take a bar exam and pass the exam and become a lawyer, an attorney, whatever you want to call it, a counselor. I don't know those words, you know. And so you have to do all that. But I don't know if you know this. Then many different states in the United States of America, they just appoint a judge. You know, in other words, we appoint Kino to be a judge, you know, in small courts, you know, in South Carolina, you know. If you guys don't know about this, well, let me tell you. You know, and if you do know about it, please write it there. You know, I want to see what you're writing. I want to look at it. So again, to become a lawyer, you go to school, you go to law school, you take the bar exam. You know, JFK Jr. took the bar exam in Columbia, I don't know, 2, 3, 5 times, and he failed. So it's not an easy thing to do, you know? And he's a Kennedy. But to become a judge, they just appoint you, you know? They appoint you to go over there, you're the judge, right? And many people they become a judge. So what happens is I'm still bothered by what happened on August the 22nd of 2025. You know? There we go. We have somebody already telling me almost all the judges are appointed. You don't have to go to school to be a judge or nothing. You don't have to be a lawyer. They appoint you, you become a judge. Y más nada. You know more than the lawyer. They study in law school and he became, you know what I'm trying to say. Thank you very much, Damon. You know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this, Damon, because you're smart. You're smart. So those appointed, judges, like over there, what happened to that young girl from Ukraine, that she went over there to work, find a different life. And one day she finished working, she goes in a train, and this human being this human being, he stabs her and he kills her. And those are the judges that let these people out. They never study law or nothing, but we're gonna let them out. You're gonna let them out. So that poor soul got killed on the hands of a career criminal, una gonorrhea, gonorrhea, an infection. So these people, exactly, Damon, exactly. So these judges that they just pick, you pick. You, Samantha, you're the judge over there in small courts. You, Bill, you're the judge over here, and they're appointed. Never did one day of law school, never studied for nothing, but they're the judge. And the poor lawyer has to study, I don't know how many years, and take the bar exam and all that good stuff. But you get appointed to be a judge and to release people out there, these people which are animals, animales, And this is what's going on in the United States of America. So I understand that most of you already knew what I was telling you, that to become a judge, you just got to be appointed. Juan Felipe Nieves, you're the judge in Miami-Dade Downtown Circuit Court. You go over there now and you say who stays in jail and who comes out, because you know everything about law. So this is the situation that we have going on in our country. We have demons, we have monsters, we have all kind of people that they should be locked away forever, but they're roaming the streets freely, killing innocent people. And that's how it is. And I wanted to tell you that because I had it in my heart since August the 22nd of 2025, the day of my birthday. But I was quiet, because this channel, we talk about everything, but today has been a very unbelievable day, not a good day whatsoever. So I had to put this, young lady, that she was a Ukrainian immigrant, refugee, looking for a better life. And you know what it is to look up and look at this evil person that just finished your life. You gotta look at him. It's the most disturbing thing I have ever seen in my life, ladies and gentlemen. Disturbing, the fear in her eyes, looking at this monster that, you kill me. What happened? What did I do? And then he walks inside the train. He walks and he says, I just got, you can hear it. You can hear, I'm not even going to tell you to Google or look for it. You listen to me and that's enough. He says, I got a white one. But those appointed judges are the ones that let loose this monster, this infection, this incurable infection. Porque esa gente no tienen cura. These people don't have cure. They don't have cure. These are people that they need to be, they need to, I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta be careful. And I'm disturbed about that because this happened on August the 22nd, and me quiet. Because we don't want to bring no problems here. I told you that there's two colors here. You got two colors. The red and the blue. It's the same shit with different smell. Same thing. I'm warming up. And I don't care what color you belong to. I don't care what color you belong to. You're still in my team. I still care about you. It's just like this. And again, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know this and you know this, that's great. But ladies and gentlemen, it's an embarrassment to hear that somebody has to study to become a lawyer so many years and take a bar exam to pass it, and then somebody appoints a judge that was working in a, with all due respect, I'm saying this, with all due respect, that was working in a bank. Now you were a judge. Now you're the one that decides who stays in jail and who goes out of jail. And they let that monster out. You know, those small courts, judges, they're the monsters. Let them out. Let them out so they can slaughter somebody out there. All right? So I wanted you to know about that. Now that you know already that most of the United States, they just, you know, they just point out, I want Damon to become a judge. I want Nelson to become a lawyer. I want Renato to become a judge. Excuse me, a judge. You appoint. You say you're the judge now. You're the judge. Papi, esto es una pudrición brutal. Una pudrición. Una podrición. You know, this is incredible. Anybody can be a judge. You get appointed, that's it. But ladies and gentlemen, I told all of you, exactly, they have rules, not suggestions, correct. I told all of you this, and it really hits home hard, because I told you this in a very, very truthful way, and I know that many of you didn't even understand what I said. But I told you. I told you this. I said to you, if you are a preacher of church, of business, of politics, and you start preaching in Broadway, you know, in Broadway in New York City, and you start preaching, and you have one of those horns, and you're preaching, or a little walkie-talkie, and you're preaching, you know, and you're preaching, and nobody listens to you, they see you as a mashugana. They see you as a crazy person. And I told you last week, I told you this. I said, listen to me. The worst thing in the world is when you are talking out there, screaming, whatever it is, you're against this marriage with this marriage, you're against this with this, whatever that you're against, right? And you're preaching out there and you're screaming in Broadway and nobody listens to you, they see you as a mashugana. But I told you, the moment that someone stops to listen to you, all eyes are on that person that's talking, okay? They're sending the message out. I told you that last week. I think it went through here and it came out through here, but I did tell you. And you might be asking, well, why are you telling me this? I'm telling you this. You're going to have to wait. So I told you that is when somebody notices you and wants to hear you, that's it. All eyes on that person that is sending out a message, whether it's religion, politics, whatever it is. All eyes are on you. Where I'm going with this, well, we have a gentleman. With this gentleman, basically for what they say, he has a podcast like Mr. Donut showed me. Podcast. This guy has a podcast, and this gentleman has a podcast. His name is Charlie Kirk. You know, Charlie Kirk. You know, It's unbelievable. 31 years old, 2 children. It's unbelievable. And he got in that world because he spoke very well, and he was he belonged to they say to the red team, to the red team and all that good stuff. But he was very polite and very good. And he had many people. He had many people. I tell you, when you're talking and you got 100, 200 people, things change automatically. Things change automatically, because you are an activist or you're something. I don't know, help me with the word, You guys are smarter than me. Yo soy morón. I'm a moron, It's unbelievable. But I look at everything in a way that I look at it different from you guys, and I hear it different from you guys. So this guy is today making a good, I think it's a debate. He's making a debate, with people in Utah. Utah is the state of Utah is, Charlie Kirk, political activist. Exactly what I said, an activist, right? And all that good stuff. This guy is brilliant. Una mente brutal, This guy can debate with anybody and he's going to give you the logo deep, Or he was going to give it to you because... So, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you about that. When you make groups of people, you became something big now, and now you have to be careful because all eyes are on you. All eyes are on you. And ladies and gentlemen, you're not gonna believe what I'm looking at. Mormons in Utah. It's that state is You know what I mean? Help me out, guys. You guys are smart. I'll read what you guys say. Exactly. Change minds, change hearts. Exactly. Beautiful. Beautiful people. This Charlie Kirk. Unbelievable. I'm still feeding. This is why I went with the young lady, the immigrant, from Ukraine, and the judges over there, they get, appointed and picked out to this. And he was talking. He was debating in a beautiful way, no foul language, very elegant, very composed, blah, 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 blah. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm watching this, and one of the students asked, Charlie Kirk a question, and the question was, what did he thought about those, arms, people killing each other with arms this, arms that. And he asked a question to Charlie, and Charlie answered back, very elegant. And the student asked another question, and what do you think about this? And he said, well, what is it? Is this regarding shootings of gangs? Like La Salvatrucha, Salvatrucha, those gangs, that come from Salvador, Salvatrucha. And he said, oh yeah, this and about that, about BMT, BLT, all that kind of stuff. And then when the gentleman says, listen to this, guys, you got to listen to this, man. You got to listen to this. When the guy says, because of the shooting, ta-da! Boom, boom. Poor Charlie Kirk. He put his life on the line, and that's how he got paid. He got clipped. He got clipped. And ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you something, because I've been telling you all these different stories, different angles, different forms. I've been telling you this, unbelievable. When you are, they say, please correct me when I'm wrong. I want to be wrong always. They say when you're shooting from 250 yards, Papi, you gotta be precise, man. You got to be precise. The cue. It must have been like the cue. When you ask this question and he's gonna answer, this is we're gonna let it go. The student asked the question. As soon as he asked the question, ta-da! This man was dead. To me, when I saw this, he was dead instantly. He was dead instantly. It was Franco tirador, Franco sniper, Franco tirador. There you go. I said it in Spanish, Thurston said it in English for me. Franco tirador. Boom. You can't listen to me. That's why I told people you got to be very careful where you're at, because when you're talking and you are awakening people, it's very, very dangerous. You're awakening minds, they're asleep. You know, they're working with 0.5% of their brain. And somebody else comes, no, that's not an amateur, Papi. It's not an amateur. Papi, it's not an amateur. What this person got hit today with, he didn't even know what happened. You know, I don't take deer past 150 yards for fear. Well, this is, Bobby, you have to be, I'm telling you, I mean, to hit somebody here, it's like Thurston Howard III said, that was, man, 5 stripes, you know? You know? I mean, I was grossed out the way they slaughtered that human being. It was a slaughter. It was a massacre. You know, people were so in shock. They didn't know what happened because they saw him slump. The students, you know, all those people that he had there, they didn't know what happened. You know, 1 shot. That's all. 1 shot. 250 yards. How many yards was that? Can anybody tell me how many yards? Please help me out. Because I'm today, I feel very, he was 2 inches away from the same, wow, man. It's horrible. This is why I tell you, you can't play. That's a different league, man. When you go into that league, it's, you know, that ICA, look at that, 210 to 240 yards. Papi, you're talking about 2 football fields and a half. 2 football fields and a half. Hay que ser, brother, hay que ser un monstruo. You gotta be a monster. You gotta be a monster to hit somebody at 250 yards. You gotta be a monster. 2 NFL football fields. 2.5. You know it. Come on. So then they start running and they get this little old fella, Zimmerman. His pants are falling on the street. He's in his underwears. They're taking him in. This is no lie, ladies and gentlemen. And this is not funny. This is all over the news. They picked this guy out, a little old man there, Zimmerman. They put him to run. His pants falling all over the place. He's in underwears, you know, FBI, Secret Service all over the place. Papi, this is unbelievable what I'm telling you. This is no joke. And I told you guys, when you're talking to the people out there and nobody listens to you, the world doesn't care because nobody's listening to you. You're just a crazy person. You're just not well mentally, and they don't care. But the moment you get a crowd, you become somebody. And he did a big mistake, I believe. Well, not him, his handlers. Not enough security, and he was like some of these hunters say, he was a sitting. It sounds bad, but he was just a sitting target. I don't want to use the word I was going to use. He was a sitting target, and you know, it was man. I must have seen this thing today like 50 times just to look at it. You know, just to look at what I was. Man, this is crazy. This is because I think the last time I remember seeing somebody, you know, getting shot, you know, live, I think it was Trump was the last one, but after that, I think it was the Pope and then Reagan, you know, it's unbelievable. Man, I saw this, man, and I said, this is unbelievable. I'm telling my subscribers how this is, and there it is. You're out. If you can't, we can't beat this guy no more. We know already we can't beat him. This guy can debate anybody, and he's gonna whip you. You know, this guy is gonna whip you. This guy he is brillante, brilliant mind. I'm talking about the gentleman, Charlie Kirk. It's unbelievable. We can't, no matter who we bring, no matter what LBGT we bring, no matter what woke we bring, no matter what no matter what you bring, you're gonna lose. So they took him out. Thank you, Pete. You said it. They took him out. We can't, and this guy belongs to that guy, that new guy from Pennsylvania Avenue. He belongs to that guy. He's with him. Y la gente de ellos, we can't beat this guy. There's not one student here in Utah University that can, stand next to this man. Este tipo tiene, steel. They're steel. They're steel. They're made of steel. Nobody can with him. But I keep on telling you, if you all go back and you listen to that student, listen to what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say that student is part of this thing. I'm not going to say they're part of this thing. But if you hear, when it came to the part of arms, armed shootings in schools, shooting in gangs, shooting like this, shooting like that, and shooting the way they shot him, your hairs, you go, no, this is not for real. This is not for real. They just murder somebody in the moment they're asking questions in a debate of, mass shootings, this shooting. And when he's about to answer, guys, por mi madre, my mother, she's not no longer with us, but for my mother, look at this. You hear when they saying clearly. So with this shooting, and he's gonna talk, bam, sleeping, goodbye. You can't. Like if you take a look, no matter how many times all of us have seen the assassination of John F. Kennedy, Papa, this was Papi. You're talking about somebody in the 12th floor, shooting from the library, another one over the fence, right there. You're talking 250 yards. Tiene que ser un fenómeno. Tiene que ser un fenómeno. And the guy is no longer here. This is why I told you, when these people notice you is when you have people around you. While you're talking, and you might be talking about babies and babies born, babies not born, and and this and that. Everything is good. Everything is fine. Nobody cares about none of what you're saying. You can continue there. But the moment 4 people stop to listen to you, that's where the trouble starts. And that's what happened to this gentleman. That's what happened to this gentleman today. It's a sad story, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know what's gonna happen behind this, but I'm telling you, there's too many things. And then you have that team saying that, when they listen to this, because it's gross. I don't care what team color you belong to, it's gross. When they start saying that, you cannot be judging the person that murdered that young lady in the train in Charleston over there. I don't know where Charlie, wherever is the place, working in a pizzeria as a waitress, making a new life, trying to become a supermodel here in this country, and you come out of your work, you mind your business, you sit in the train, and you're looking at your phone, and everybody in the train was sitting down playing with their phone, because that's how society is today, We just don't communicate no more. We communicate with the phone, and that's it. And then we got this guy sitting behind her, this infection that these appointed judges, were the ones that let him loose. Appointed judges never study one day of law, never became a lawyer, but they appointed a judge to say who stays in jail and who comes out of jail. This is una locura. And then you see the video of this la gonorrea, la infección más grande del mundo, the incurable infection sitting behind this young lady that came from Ukraine as a refugee looking for refugio here. Oh, even the family said that. But that appointed judge that I told you about, Damon, was the one that let him out loose. You know, been in jail like 12, 15, 20 times. I don't know. And then you hear him when he does what he does, because it's the most, it's so big, pobrecita, my God, man. You know, he does this to her, and then now you have the people all over social media saying, well, you can't judge this person. You're making this a big deal. They don't want nobody to show this. They didn't want nobody to look at this. And then the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, he must have some trouble there too in his cabinet, because he didn't hear about this until 2 days later. Now, hold up. 2 days later, so somebody in the cabinet, they say, hey, don't say nothing about this, so we don't create no more problems, with the blue and the red and the blue, pop, because now it's a red and blue situation. Now it's a red and blue situation. Now this one, Charlie Kirk is the red situation. Charlie is the blue situation. So you have all these people all over the place saying now, well, we can't make this, that, we can't make that, we can't say this, because now it's this, that, bam, bam. Papi, estamos jodidos. Exactly, very well said, Nelson. This is why I told you that you have 2 eyes in the front and you have to have 1 in the back. Papi, let me tell you something. And this is what I'm going to say. I don't have nothing against that. What I'm going to say, I don't have nothing against whoever did it. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I don't know what they put in that Corona beer, thing that people got, the jab, Joe Frazier jab, the Muhammad Ali jab. I don't know, but people están loco. I mean, están loco. I don't know what they put in these things, what they did. Forget about the THC. Forget about THC. And to all of you that you got that, may God bless you always and give you health and last forever in this world. But let me tell you, man, this is not THC. To do these kind of atrocidades, help me out with that word. It's a big word, atrocidades. It's unbelievable. Atrocities, man. Atrocity. And we're skip hopping around through life, gentlemen. People that, I don't know. I said, what is going on? And, so we got people that have their way of thinking. It's a mental illness. It's not a joke, okay? I respect all that. But this is crazy. And I haven't seen the United States of America the way it is, I would say, since from 2020 to today. I mean, I haven't seen something like this in my life. And let me tell you, man, I know some rotten apples out there in the world. But, man, those rotten apples have more class than these people that are being loose. Let them go. Papi, these are monsters. These are monsters. Seres humanos que son monstruos. They don't belong in society. It's never been like this, Mr. Donald. Thank you. It's never been like this. I was telling my friend today, I said, bro, this has never been like this, man. This is crazy. How is it that I'm going to go to have lunch in the Merrick Park in Coral Gables, and I sit down and I'm like this? Supposedly, Merrick Park in Coral Gables is a little upper scale, neighborhood. The things are more safe, and I'm still like this. I'm looking around because people está loco. People, I don't know what they're putting in our food. I don't know what they're putting on Coca-Cola. I don't know what they're putting in orange juice. I don't know what they're putting in fluoride. Fluoride, whatever you call that. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but we're upside down. I mean, how can you say that, that young lady that got murdered, we're not supposed to be showing this because now it's going to become, you're going to you're going to point out this, that, fluoride. Thank you. How? Thank you very much, Mr. Dona, for helping me out. What is the water? What's going on? I'm like saying, what's going on here, dude? This is a tutamal. This cannot be right. And then you're going to tell me that somebody shot from 250 yards and hit bullseye? No, papi, that has to be a triple master. The world has gone mad. Listen, I wasn't planning to do no live stream today, but I had to, man. I had to leave this memory here because it's incredible. People still don't understand what's going on. It's not right. And it's people that you look at and you say, person looks normal to me, very well groomed, well dressed. Papi, te matan. Te matan. So I see things that they're wrong, and I think that there's your answer about, when you're out there and you're preaching, you got to be very, very careful because the consequences are big. Like me right now preaching to you guys is big, but I'm not in that platform that he became already. He's touching elbows with the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue. He was the one that supposedly was the one that moved the shift of all the youngsters, the youngsters to vote for the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, the guy that won. He had a lot to do with it. He was a voice. Charlie Kirk was a voice, man, and he was a reckon with. I mean, if you were gonna go and stand up with him to shoot words, Papi, you better come prepared, because this guy, like let's say an example. I wouldn't have a chance. Not even 2 words. Eat your life. Everybody that they would throw at him, he would finish them. He would go to any school, anywhere. Exactly. Your thoughts, he's expressing his thoughts, and he got murdered. I'm not going to use the word clip. No. He got murdered, man. He got murdered. 2 little children, 31 years old. Unbelievable. I just don't understand dopamine. Okay. I don't understand. Another thing I don't understand is how, there wasn't some security for this young man that, I don't need to hear from nobody else that he was a smart man. I can see that he's a smart man. He finished with everybody. Anybody. Let's go on a one-on-one. Let's go, me and you. Go ahead. He will finish you off. And for that, they couldn't beat him with words. So the next best thing was to, delete him, But man, do you guys think that this was something that, Crazy Joe from West Virginia just came, with a 30-30 rifle, with a scope, and boom, and did it? I mean, probably you have to have to sit down. I'm right now I'm going to talk. I don't know about this, but Bobby, you have to be in a place where you're there, that you can move, and you could, I don't know about this. I only know about movies that I watch, of those sharpshooters. You need to be tranquilo. You need to be still, You understand? And that guy, when you can hear this 2 shots. Boom, boom. Fuera. You're done. You can, like they say, you can stick a fork on it, it's over. He's a great guy, but it's over. We need to, you know. Papi, eso es lo que hay para ustedes. This is what it is for you guys. Because if you think that I was going to stay shut about August the 22nd with that young lady from Ukraine, you know, refugee, immigrant, you know, got slaughtered. And this guy today, you know, over here in Utah, no, it's enough, bro. It's enough. And it doesn't matter, again, what team you belong. Es la misma mierda con diferente peste. It's the same shit with different smells. That's all it is, you know? And this is why when you get into that level, you know, you saw what happened to Aaron Russo. You know, when Aaron Russo saw what it was, he said, hold on. Esto no para mí. This is not for me. You know, Aaron Russo, you know, he said, this is not for me, but it was too late. Because once you see las entrañas, cuando ustedes le ven las entrañas, when you see the entrañas of the monster, there's no turning back. There's no turning back. Never forget that. There's no turning back. When they show you that's the monster, there's no way turning back. You know? You know, like that singer, you know, that girl, what was her name? She sang Unbelievable. You know, what's her name? Whitney Houston, you know? She saw the monster, and when she wanted to leave, you're not going to leave. The monsters are going to get you. You saw the guy, you know, Michael Jackson. You saw George Michael. You saw, what's his name? What was the guy? Prince. When they let you see it, they tell you, you ready for this? Because there's no turning back. And that's what happens. You know, that poor Charlie Kirk. Maybe to you, this doesn't make no sense. Te pongo el cuco, papi, el cuco. El cuco. That's, you know, people ask, what happened to Prince? Hey, you know, the devil came, you know, to pay up. You know, it's time. You're done. You know, the devil came and get you, you know. Let me tell you, that's a very serious world. And that's why smart people, they let them know about the world and they decide, do I want to enter that world or I want to kish? You know, because that's a world, man, that you listen to me. There's no turning back in that world. No, I'm gonna go to the church and see my priest. He's gonna clean me. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. Okay, I'll do it until you do it to 65. When you're 20 years old, I do this until 65. You got until 65 years old. At 65 years old, a cuco comes to get you. At 65, they don't mess around. At 65, you want to do this? Exactly. Like Michael. It's how it is. Papi, it's like it is. I don't care. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not like Charlie Kirk. I'm not like Michael Jackson. I can tell you. Yo soy un huele bicho. Yo soy un lambón. Yo soy un palomo. You know? But I can tell you. It's how it is. When they come to get you, they come to get you. Hasta aquí llegaste. Every time they find them more in a tub. Or slanted in the elevator. You know? Like that poor, what's her name? Trump's ex-wife? You know, what was her name? Forgot that lady's name. You know? Unbelievable. This is how it is. You join that clique, you can stay there and you finish it out there. But you're never gonna come out of there. You're never. Papi, it's a big group and it has dots. And everybody that you know, exactly, Ivanka. Everybody that you know, he might be a doctor, a surgeon, a psychiatrist, a lawyer, a businessman, and they're there. That's what they believe in, papi. This is too strong for you guys, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. You know, Charlie, you know, he knew what he was getting into, and when you're that young, you don't really, you know, you don't see that far. But that guy, was seeing real far from 250 yards. He was seeing him. And let me tell you, I seen the video, and if you see la precisión, the precision, what exactly that's the movie right there. That's the movie. I still don't know how he didn't get clipped in the movie. What's his name? That Cruz guy, you know? I don't know how he didn't get clipped, because those people, you're talking about J.P. Morgan, papi. You're talking about Rockefeller. You're talking about Rothschild, you know? You're talking about monsters. Monsters that when they take off the mask, you will never think that they're monsters. These are beautiful suburban parents, you know? Beautiful people. You know, these are people, pero son el diablo. Son el diablo. And I thought I should share this with you, because I feel today that, you know, when you know these things, the boogeyman, papi, the boogeyman, when you know these things, for people like myself, okay, for people like myself, these are things, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so, you know, you see me as un lambón, but when I see things that happen, I go, oh, esto se jodió. So don't think for a moment that this situation that's going on, you know, and then you have a school shooting too. A school shooting. You guys don't know this? There's a school shooting too. This is what's happening is very, very dangerous right now. Very, very dangerous in the country. The country is kind of divided. Babi, you cannot tell me that I shouldn't feel sorry for that young lady that got slaughtered in a train, that we shouldn't be talking about that because we're being kind of racist. What is racist about that? What is racist about somebody getting killed, you know, by the hands that's a judge got appointed that was working in a clothing store, got appointed to become a judge, and let this esta gonorrea salir para afuera. You know, it's unbelievable, you know, guys. And I had to share this with you guys, so I wanted to let you know. I also want you guys to know something else too. I was looking today at Blackstone. You know who Blackstone is, right? Not BlackRock, Blackstone. I was looking at Blackstone today, and these people are making a killing, man. These people, you know, are making a killing. This Blackstone is making a killing, ladies and gentlemen. They just finished buying a luxury, and I mean a luxury hotel and debt center, you know, Miami, Florida, the Brickell area. Blackstone purchased a luxury hotel in downtown Brickell. You know, these people are unbelievable. But I got more for you. Blackstone just finished buying buildings. Google it. Google it. Don't believe me. Google it. Google it. So then you can say, man, he wasn't lying. Google it. You know where they bought apartment buildings at? Esta gente son bravos. These Blackstone people are monsters. BlackRock people are monsters. J.P. Morgan are monsters. You know, the Bilderbergers. You know, Vanguard, State Street, Rothschilds. Son una gonorrea. Una gonorrea. Son gonorrea. There you go. The East Hotel. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a suburban area here in Miami, which is called Miami Lakes. Miami Lakes. You know, buildings that have like around 300 units, 200 units, I don't know. Boom, give it to me. I take it too. They're destroying everything around. Any buildings that has any of those, you know, that you have to pay. Panama Canal, papa. They're buying Miami Lakes, papi. They're buying, you know it. There you go. So you know what I'm saying then. Miami Lakes, they're buying it all. Blackstone buying Miami Lakes completely. Papi, you know what I'm trying to say, Dr. E, you know? And I got to come here and give you this news because I should do it, you know? I was thinking today I was gonna sit in, my bedroom and scratch my feet, watch a little TV. But I said I can't. I can't. I can't because these people, these 29 organic watch channel subscribers need to see this. My question is, because I asked a question before, and I think Nelson replied back to me that I'm also in Hawaii over there. In Hawaii, I'm gonna say something because I'm already on fire, so I'm gonna keep on going. You know how it is in Hawaii. You flying around with lasers, and you burn this house, that house, that house, and this house was in the middle. Nothing happened to it. Explain that to me. Go ahead, Thurston Howard III. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. You burned this house, that house, and the one in the middle, all around it, they were all burned, and that one didn't happen nothing. They say, Kino was telling me, paint the roofs. There you go. Okay, Damon knows too much. Damon knows too much. And I come here and I tell you what I had to tell you. I also want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, talking about watches. There's a lot of people that love the Rolex Submariner stainless steel with the black dial and the black ceramic bezel. It's a beautiful watch. And I had somebody that was talking to me about this watch. I'm going to tell you that I've been trying to get this watch for myself for some time, but I want to get the 41 millimeter, the stainless steel with the black ceramic bezel and the black dial. And people ask me always, well, which one do you think is better? Is the Rolex stainless steel black dial with the black ceramic bezel in date better than the Submariner, same one as that one, but without a date, right? They asked me that question. And I'm going to tell you it's better for Rolex because the one that's date is the one that sells in volume. Listen to me, in volume, the one that has a date. But the real collector, the real watch collector, like Thurston Howard III, they're gonna choose the watch that is a no date. That has a no date. It has straight, clean line finishes. You look at the dial, you don't see no loop window there with the date. It's perfect. It's the one that looks even more as a professional equipment watch. Nothing. So I was telling this person that if you want volume, and the one that Rolex sells the most is the one with a window, date wheel, but the one that they don't produce as much, and it's more collectible, it's more desired by all these big time people, they'll take a no date all day, every day. All right? So you know what's going on. And I've been trying to get that watch, and I got it already. I already got it. I got it. And it's a beautiful watch. So if you're thinking and you if according to train, okay, jumper, okay, if you're looking and you're trying to see which one you like more, and I'll tell you something else, I think it's like $1,000 less as well. I think you're paying $1,000 for a date. I think so. I don't know. Something to that, So if you're looking at that watch, what I honestly believe, me personally, it looks beautiful, nice and clean. It makes it look beautiful. I don't want to see no date there. I really don't. I'm getting too old to be hearing the date. I don't want to hear no more date. I don't even want to hear nothing. I want to hear that I have 100 years to go. So there's your answer on that question, sir, there it is. So you do as you please. If you like the date, get it. But I like the one. This is a 41 millimeter. It's a 41 millimeter. The Submariner, black dial, black ceramic bezel, and it really, if you look at it, take both watches and put them side by side, and I'm gonna tell you, your eyes will look more at the one that has no date. I know so. You're gonna, because it looks cleaner. You know, it looks cleaner. It doesn't look as busy as the one with a date. I have the one with a date. I do. I have it. I have it in a green, and I have it in a stainless steel too. I have it. So, and then you look at it, and the one that's plain, man, losing my feeling. You put it on with a tuxedo, you look like James Bond. You know, just to thank you. That's the word. That's the word, Damon. That's the word. Aesthetics. That's the word. If you look at it, you're gonna go, coño. You know, it looks, you know, it looks more clean. The aesthetics también. Luce muy bonito. So if you are thinking of buying a sub, or if they offer you a sub in your AD, and it's a no date, it's a winner. It's a winner. You know, it's a winner, and it's a winner, and you probably have a couple of G's, you know, left in the bone. That if you know you want to make a couple of G's, because people are buying that watch because they're not making them as much as the one with the date. All right. I hope that helps you guys out on something. I'm not gonna give you guys a watch market update today, because I was talking to you about those two cases that happened in the United States of America. You know what happened to the young lady, and what happened to this figure. You know that Charlie Kirk. You know, and guys, you know, somebody wrote something down that said, hey guys, be careful. You know, have your third eye always, you know, looking around, because man, there's some people out there that they're not well, man, and I'm telling you, somebody else also said that, you know, it's been like this for a while, our country, and it is. I'm seeing people out there doing things that the way they're reacting, you know, like I told you guys about the Karen, you know, the Karen, the ball snatcher, you know, the ball snatcher. You know, it wasn't right. You know, it wasn't right the way, you know, it wasn't right the way she reacted over there in Lone Park Stadium, you know, the Miami Marlins, you know, and they had to give her the ball because, you know, the lady went, you know, something, you know, something is up. I don't know if it's the fluorine. I don't know if it's the water. I don't know if it's the fries and McDonald's, you know. I don't know. I don't know if it's the pizza and Domino's pizza. But, you know, something ain't right. And, you know, I'm here to give it to you because, you know, I care about you guys, you know, and it's not cool what's happening, you know. And I want to ask a question to Damon, that I believe Damon lives in California. Also in California, they have that appoint the judge, and that's it. You don't have to go to law school or nothing. You just get appointed and you become a judge. Is it like that over there too? Over there, you know, in Los Angeles, or the Angels, over there in California. I don't know. Does it, you know? No, I don't think so. Okay, because man, I don't know, man. You know, South Carolina, West Virginia, North Carolina. You know, those places over there, they you know, do you have a lady working in the Miss Piggy grocery store, you know, and come, you're going to be a judge. I appointed you. And you're the one that has the future of all these, you know, certain states, you just elect them. Okay, well, in some states, you don't have to. You just appoint them. You go, you're a judge. And for appointing that judge, you know, getting appointed, she let that guy out that murdered that young lady in the train, you know, riding home from working a shift in a pizzeria. You know, she lost her life because una lambona let him out, you know. But that's how it is. You know, you have to go to school to become a lawyer, so many years, you know, study hard, you know, and then you have to take a bar exam, And then you flunk it and you take it again, and you flunk it and you take it again, and then you become a lawyer. And then this lady that worked in Miss Piggy grocery store gets appointed to be a judge in small, small claim, small crime, THC, crack, robbery, stealing. And these are the people that are roaming the streets, and they're doing harm to you and to me. You got to watch it when you're wearing these watches in the street, because these people today, they're not satisfied by you giving them the watch. Here's the watch. No, boom, boom. Okay, I got the watch, and boom, boom to you too, So there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Obey, Papa. You need, in this case, you need to obey, And I'm telling you, the way they have is, I know what I have to talk to you guys about before I forget. Mr. Donut has recommended unbelievable movies, documentaries to this channel. And I'm going to tell you, I saw a documentary that this is part 2. And this is for Damon, for Thurston, for Dr. E, and all of you. Nelson, all of you here, you know who you are. I got to tell you something. There's a documentary that, to me, this is I don't know if this is part 1 or part 2, but I'm just going to say part 1 or part 2 of Inside Job, and then it's this one called the Flaw. Flaw, FLAW. And if you see this, Papi, and you see what they have in store for people over there in the anywhere, because this is going to happen all over the United States. This crash, nadie se va a escapar. Nobody's going to be able to escape. You're not going to be able to escape this. I mean, the things, as a matter of fact, I believe that the Flaw has even better awareness things in that documentary that will knock your socks off and blow your hair back. Listen, there was a lady in that documentary. I believe she was from the Caribbean. She was a black Caribbean lady. Beautiful people. And she came here and she wanted to have a business. She had to close her business, and she went to see her banker, and her banker told her, what you need to do is you need to buy a house. You need to buy a house. And the lady listened to her, and she bought a house so she can be able to buy now her own business. Then when she was doing the closing, she had a mortgage of $4,000. And the Caribbean black lady told the banker, listen, I cannot pay $4,000. And the banker told the lady, don't worry about it. Next year, you go again and you refinance. And instead of paying that 9%, I'm giving you an exaggeration, but so you can understand, a 9% next year, you'll get it at 2%, and you'll be fine. Well, the lady listened to the banker, and you know what happened to her. She got this. It's an unbelievable. This will teach you things that even myself, I learned a lot from watching that documentary. So I highly recommend you guys to take a look-see at the documentary Flaw. And let me tell you, man, that Alan Greenspan, eso es una gonorrea. This man, Mr. Donor, it was like something in the court, right? Where they had him there, all those big time people were sitting there around him, and I don't know how you call that. When you're sitting there and all those people, commissioners, senate, they're asking you questions, and they're asking question to Alan Greenspan, and they told him in his face, so Alan, are you going to be able today to admit that you were wrong? They asked him that question. It's unbelievable, this Alan Greenspan. Son gente mala. These people are demons. These people are demons in disguise, in disguise. And you know what Alan Greenspan told those people in the Senate? I don't know. Am I saying it right, Damon? Mr. Donut? Is it the Senate, Thurston? Dr. Evil told me. I don't know. When you sit around, people ask you all those questions. The committee hearings, okay. The hearings, You know what I'm trying to say, right? And you know what he said when they asked him that, sounds right, okay. He says to them, he looks at them and he says, partially. ¿Qué clase de gonorrea? Partially, you know, partially, you know, it wasn't fully, and he was the blame for all this. So gente mala, these bankers son gonorreas, you know, son gonorreas. And so you have to watch this documentary, because I don't know if this is part one and Inside Job is part two, or Inside Job is part one and this is part two. But yo lo vi, and I'm telling you, what you see there, listen to this. My last one before I let you guys go. There's a man that he is doing super, super well. And his wife is bored as shit. I don't care. She was bored as shit. I don't think shit is a bad word, right? This is a G channel, you know? This is, you know, G. Not PG, G. And the lady was bored, and she had this husband of hers that was making money. And she was a stay-at-home wife. But after a few years, you know, she started getting restless, being at home all day, being a mom, being a soccer mom. And she said, you know, honey, I'm going to try to become a real estate agent. And she became a real estate agent. You got to listen to this, man. Papa, you got to listen to this. So when you hear this from your wife, you know what to do. All right? I told my wife about this. She started laughing. So the wife tells the husband that she's going to go become a real estate agent. And she's going to take the classes and all that good stuff. So the guy's saying the story. So she took the classes and she passed the exam. Am I saying it right, Mr. Donut? I think I'm doing it good, right? So they had all this. They had a house. And the house had, like, you know, when you have money in your house, you know, I don't know how to say that word. You know, when you have money, you know, how do you say that word? ¿Cómo se dice eso? You know, like, you know, when you have money, you know, the house costs equity. You had equity. So the guy had. Thank you, D. Thank you so much, man, D. Thank you so much. So he had equity, you know, in the house. So he had equity. So the wife, she's going to now hang her license in a real estate company. And the real estate owner, the owner of the company, you know, the mortgage broker, tells the guy's wife, you have equity in your house? And she said, yeah. I'm just going to give you an example. I forgot the number, what it was, but let's say they had $2 million in equity, right? An example. Or $1 million, whatever it was. Let's say $2 million, you understand me? So he tells the wife, what you need to do is get all that equity and buy all the houses you can get. And take a second, a third, and a fourth. So the lady, you know, tú sabes que las mujeres tienen la coneja, you know, la coneja, you know. The women are the ones that have, you know, la coneja. So she goes back home and she tells el lambón, you know, el palomo. She tells el palomo, honey, you know what? I talked to the owner of the real estate company, and he says that it's the boom right now, and that we should start buying houses with the equity we have in this house. So they started taking equity, $300 for another house, $200 for that one, $300 for that one, and then they would take equity from the other house they bought, equity from the other one, equity from that one, equity from that one. Mr. Donut, what happened to them afterwards? The lady, la mujer acabó con ese hombre. She finished that man. That man was talking and smiling in the documentary, but that lady was going nuts because she became she thought she was one of those, you know, those shows that will give those, how do you call that? You know, like when it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Hi, my name is Tony Chung, and I have a real estate, you know, those shows. You know what I'm talking about? You know, I'm Tony Chung, and I have the real estate, and you don't need $1 to make millions of dollars, you know? You just buy my kit, you know? So the lady became a nut with, you know, with this infomercials. Infomercials. You gotta see this Damon. You gotta see this. The lady went nuts. She was buying every property she can get a hand. But she didn't know that 2008 crash was coming, bro. She didn't know. She didn't know it was coming, and then I'll let Mr. Donut tell you how. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Like Miss Cleo, the lady got the man. The man went nuts, and this is one Tom Vu. Tom Vu, I was saying Tony Chu. 3 o'clock in the morning and you're there watching TV. Hello, this is Tom Vu. I'm a millionaire. You know those infomercials that drive you crazy? It was crazy. But the last one was a hedge fund. Is it called hedge fund? So these hedge funds are worth billions of dollars, right? And this is the flaw you got to watch. So he had all these mansions with 20,000 square feet mansion, behind the Hamptons, and then you have the Hamptons and then you have the West Hamptons. And that man, there was a hedge fund, he went down from a 20,000 square feet home, 20,000 AC square feet, he went down to a 3,000 square feet home because it was the new generation, 2025 and whatever, and people were living now more modest and all that. All right, guys. So that's the documentary you guys should watch. It's called The Flaw. Thank you so much, guys, for all the words: equity, infomercial, Tony Vu, Tom Vu, Tony, whatever it is. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy, this little time we had together, and talking about this. Let's give a big prayer to the family of Charlie, Kirk, and to that young lady that lost her life over there in Charlotte or Charleston. I don't know where it was, somewhere over there where they appoint the judges. Today was a healing live stream, It was a healing live stream. Anyway, guys, like I will say always, Kino's not here today, so I want to say, take care and brush your hair. Have a good night. Stay safe, guys. Un abrazo y un cariño a todos ustedes. Un abrazo. Thank you, guys. Thank you.